The organizational issue that I would like to bring to the attention of the audience is students who live in UT Tyler University housing fail to understand key contractual obligations that they have signed responsibility for throughout their contract term. The main obligation that students fail to take responsibility for are the damages that occur within their apartment unit during their stay at UT Tyler. This is simply due to the students' negligence to read what they sign. In the on-campus housing contract by the Department of Residence Life, Section 3, Obligation and Agreements of Student and Grantor states, student agrees to pay all charges when due and to comply with and abide by the provisions contained in these terms and conditions. This UT Tyler Student Affairs Manual of Policies and Procedures, the UT Tyler Handbook of Operating Procedures, the Residence Life Handbook, the rules and regulations of the Board of Regents of the University of Texas System, and all other university rules and regulations that may now or in the future come into effect governing student conduct or pertaining to the university residents, individually and collectively called the University Regulations. Relating to Section 8, care of facilities, equipment, inspection, and pets, Section 8, Part B states, students shall pay the university promptly on demand all costs associated with repairs arising out of or related to failure to comply with the foregoing requirements. Part C also states, students agree to be liable for damages or other loss that student or student's guest cause to university housing, the suite or any furniture or equipment except for ordinary wear and tear. Title to the damaged property will remain with the university. Student will be charged on a prorated basis for damage to public areas of university housing. If responsible parties cannot be identified, if reasonable evidence exists that students residing in the area are responsible for damage, students shall pay all such amounts to the university promptly upon demand. Basically, that is stating is saying, if you break it, you buy it. If you damage your apartment, you buy it. All right? Now, I took time to interview the Director of Residence Life at UT Tyler, Dr. Jenny Waters, and here are her thoughts. How does the staff determine the amount of damages, and how do you ensure that it's a fair price?
We determine damages by the cost, if we have to replace an actual product, the cost of the product plus labor, the going rate for labor.
Okay. Can you give me an example of why students felt that they did not have to pay for damages and what was the end result?
One of the more common responses I've heard is that the item was already damaged when they moved in. And the normal response to that is we review the inventory with them and show if it has or has not been indicated on the inventory. If it was indicated on the room inventory when they moved in, we of course would credit that charge or reverse that charge. If it's not listed on there, we remind them of the check-in process and them being told that they were responsible for making sure everything was listed when they moved in, so they would not be charged for it when they moved out.
Got it. What is the purpose of charging students for damages?
The reason that we charge for damages is kind of twofold. Firstly, if we did not charge individual students for the damages in their particular room, we would have to divide that amongst all students in order to cover the cost of repairing any kind of damage or destruction that occurred. And it's not fair to the students who did not create any kind of a damage and did what they should have for them to have to pay for somebody else's negligence or mistakes.
Awesome.
And the second part of that would be because it also helps teach them life skills. For a lot of students, this is their first time not living with a parent or a guardian, so they haven't really learned all the life skills that they need. So one part of this is they sign an agreement, a contract, to live in that particular space and holding them to that contract and helping them learn to make sure they're reading through and understanding the contracts when they sign their name, they should know what they're signing and agreeing to. Just like when you purchase a car, you need to know what you are purchasing. Same thing with rental. So they're learning that life skill, and they're also learning so that down the road, when they perhaps purchase their own house, what it takes to maintain it and the expenses that are related to it.
Okay, thank you. My suggested proposal to implement into the on-campus housing contract is for the Department of Residence Life is the integration of a supplemental video highlighting the key obligations throughout the written form of contract. After such video is watched by the student, it will be followed by a mandatory quiz that requires a score of 100%. Only then can the student receive access to their room. So, the student would be required to pay for their housing application and deposit, sign their housing contract, watch a supplemented video, and take the mandatory required quiz to receive access to their room assignment. Why a video? It's simple. People are more likely to watch a short video than to read documents. For example, when you are registering for anything, what is the likelihood that you read the terms and conditions of what you are signing up for versus just clicking I agree? Studies show that if you keep a video between 0 and 9 minutes, you have a better chance at maintaining an audience of 100%. In our society, videos have become a higher educational alternative to learning. So it would make more sense for the Department of Residence Life to use a supplemental video to help further explain the housing contract, followed by a quiz to ensure the retainment of information. The department already has a video that informs you how to check into your rooms, and students can now check in a lot easier after watching it. The same should be done for the housing contract. What I am trying to accomplish by implementing a supplemental quiz-based video that highlights the key obligations throughout the housing contract students sign is turning negligence into knowledge and turning knowledge into accountability while learning an educational life skill for the future. So that way, the student can't state that he or she did not understand the contract, especially when it comes to damages throughout the student's time with on-campus housing.